obsessed with his collections.
Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chelloveck Movies. My name is John, and this video is going to be a look through my Russ Meyer collection so far. So first up is 1964's Fanny Hill. Now, as you know, I've just got this from Vinegar Syndrome. This is a double bill with an unrelated Russ Meyer film. It's got nothing to do with Russ Meyer. Haven't checked this out yet. Lovely presentation here. This is from 1964. This is in black and white. This disc here is region free, so it's worth picking up. And also you get this amazing slipcover as well. Now, you might remember that Arrow put out the Russ Meyer films, more about that coming up, and they put them out in DVD. There was a DVD box set I was contemplating buying, but it was just out of print. It was going for stupid money, £200 plus. And as much as I like this stuff, I thought I really want this to come out on Blu-ray. I didn't expect it to come out in 4K, which is just amazing. So a while ago, kind of 20 years ago, if you can believe that, Arrow put out a box set of Russ Meyer films, and I got a few of them, I must admit, and I did sell quite a few of them because I was paying for my drums at the time and they were going for quite a lot of money. So I put them on eBay and got rid of some of them. I did keep one of them with a view to think, well, they must be coming out on Blu-ray sometime soon. And here we are 20 years later, and I know they're coming out in 4K, which is amazing. But the fact that it hadn't even been introduced to Blu-ray in the meantime has just been ridiculous. Now, I put that down to, I think there's been a lot of rights issues with Russ Meyer films. I think there was a French Faster Pussycat Kill came out sometime, and I was going to get it, but it was really expensive. And I thought, why would I want to spend that much money when it's going to get released in the UK? Well, here we are. Some years later, there's been nothing released thus far. However, we'll get more into what's going to happen with the Severin collaboration with Severin, which seems to be ongoing at the moment. So that's Fanny Hill. Next up is the amazing Faster Pussycat Kill. Now, this is my favourite movie by Russ Meyer. I think this is absolutely brilliant. It's got everything going for it. This is from 1965, black and white. It stars the amazing Tura Satana and also Hadji and Laurie Williams. This trio here are absolutely amazing. This film is, as most of the Russ Meyer films are, they kind of defy description. I know this sounds a bit mad, but if you remember the Spice Girls video, Say You'll Be There, it's a blatant rip-off of Faster Pussycat Kill when they're in the desert. And this is just a sensational film, like I say, black and white. I always thought that Arrow would get back to this set and they would do a Blu-ray on it. And I thought, I mean, even the DVDs look pretty good. And I think all of the Russ Meyer films look really good, weirdly enough, considering a very low budget and what the kind of the content is in it. You would think it would be the other way around, but far from it. Russ Meyer, love him or hate him, he was a really good filmmaker and he was a good cinematographer as well. These films do look incredible if you like this sort of stuff. Now, I'm really hoping that Severin will release this one. They've got to release this one because it's absolutely brilliant. It's the quintessential Russ Meyer for me. Everybody knows it. Everybody wants it to be put out. I do think they'll get it out because they're starting to release more of his black and white ones. That's Faster Pussycat Kill. Next up is one of the 4Ks, 1968's Vixen. This is Russ Meyer up in the ante a bit. This is in colour, glorious colour. The cover here, I think it represents a VHS cover, believe it or not. I'm going to be talking about that in a minute, my God. But I'm really pleased to see these coming out in 4K with lots of special features. Now, a couple of things on the special features. It does say there's over 3 hours of special features. Now, I do think they're including the commentary on that. I mean, there's some good stuff on this disc, don't get us wrong. I'm really pleased that they've put this out in this particular fashion. These movies look incredible, and I mean incredible on 4K. These are remastered from the original camera negatives. Can you believe that? And Russ Meyer definitely had a knack for filmmaking. There's no getting away from it. Some of his stuff is, well, it's very different, shall we say. I'll get to that in a minute. And this one was a massive hit for Russ Meyer. So it spurred him on to do more like this. And that's why you're getting this Vixen trilogy, shall I say. But this, when I knew these were coming out, I wanted to obviously pick them up because they are ones that I've been after for a long time. I would say this one here is not my go-to Russ Meyer film, but I'm really pleased that they put out these three. I was really surprised when I saw them. Now, Getting back to the elephant in the room, the price, I do think they're really overpriced. Now, on there, when you saw through that set, you've got no no posters, no art cards, no booklets. I think they should all have that in it, because at least for that price, I do think that these are well worth 20, 25 quid, absolutely. But I think this is a real stretch for this price. It's one of the most expensive ones I've got, and I mean, these should be cheaper, I've got to say, but it is what it is. I do want to get these on release because I like them that much. I like Russ Meyer that much. I want to have his collection, but I do think it comes at a price. And you might be thinking, what do I think of these ones? What would I get out of them? Now, there's an extra on one of the other ones, which is the Jonathan Ross Incredibly Strange Picture Show. Now, I first saw that, which introduced me to Russ Meyer, and I thought, I've got to see more of his films. They were hard to see, but I managed to track a few down on Sky. I watched them and I thought they were absolutely brilliant. Now, these are the more explicit ones, and they're not really that explicit. Well, some of them are, two of them are. It did up the ante for what he was showing before. His other films weren't anything like this, although his earlier films were kind of nudie pics, kind of just grindhouse throwaway efforts, and they are quite amusing. Now, what I would like to have seen on these ones, I would like to have seen one of his first early ones like Arrow did. They used to put on these ones, not in this one, funny enough, they used to put an extra film on. So you get this one with a bonus film on. Now, I think that would have been great on here, because there's a couple of his early ones, like the Immoral Mr. T's from 1959. And there's also one called Mondo Topless. I bet you can't guess what that's about. And also another one called Common Law Cabin, which is absolutely brilliant. That's 1967. I think those are a bit shorter, and I think they could really go well on these sets. And that would have bumped the price up, and, well, it would have made the price more acceptable. I can't believe how good these look. So, next up is from Arrow again, is Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. This one here was funny. When it came out on Blu-ray, I thought, this is it. They are going to be putting out Russ Meyer's Blu-rays, films on Blu-rays, and nothing happened after this, which was a bit of a shame, because this one, it looks absolutely incredible on Blu-ray. I was amazed to see it looking so good. And the thing about Russ Meyer, you do know that, because I've seen them on DVD and on TV countless times, you know that they do look nice. They've got the ability to look really good. And these do. Now, this one has a bonus film on it. It has Beyond the Valley of the Dolls on Blu-ray. Like I say, it looks absolutely incredible. Now, this one, for me, is probably his most accomplished film. I don't think it was the most successful one. But this tells the story of this band that's to go around, and it's, you know, it's like 70s personified. This is from 1970, and it's everything about it is so 70s, it's ridiculous. Now, as well on here, you get a DVD of the 7 minutes. I haven't watched this one yet, but the quality on that, on DVD, even the DVD, looks absolutely brilliant. So that just goes to show that Russ Meyer films do look nice on whatever format. So 4Ks. Now, will they put a 4K out of this one, Severin? I don't know, because Arrow might still have the rights to this. I doubt it, but you never know. For me, this is the most complete Russ Meyer film, and by that I mean it just looks the most professional, even though the other ones do look absolutely brilliant. This one is the most normal, can I say, for that? It's not normal, but it's the most one you could probably show to people and not offend them, as you can with some of the other ones, which more about that in a minute. But this is a really good set of Arrow. It is out of print now. For me, it was foreshadowing what was to come. Sadly, what was to never come. But a great set if you can get it. I think this is still available without that second disc. If this came out in 4K, obviously I would upgrade, but for me, this is such a stunning Blu-ray. It's absolutely incredible. So that's Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. Next up is another one of the 4Ks out here. This is Super Vixens. This is from 1975. It's got that sunny blue sky element, which I love when it comes to 4Ks. It really shows off the format. Again, wow. Yeah, these aren't cheap. Not cheap at all, not cheap at all. Will they ever go into a sale? Well, I hope they will, but I'm not too sure if they're going to still remain with the slipcovers. Now, getting back to that, the slipcovers on the Blu-rays, I mean, the Blu-rays look lovely, don't get us wrong. The 4Ks look sensational. But there's no cover on the Blu-rays, which is quite unforgivable if I'm honest. All of these should have covers on. Again, I do think that this is, the 3 hours plus is a little bit kind of cheeky, because they're including the commentaries on that. The extras on here are great. There is the Incredibly Strange Picture Show with the Russ Meyer episode. That is brilliant. That is one of the best things about these whole sets. I was so glad they've included that on. I know you can get a thing from Severin to get like a pack with everything in it, with t-shirts and all that, but it's so expensive. I did look at it and thought, oh, I'll get that one of them, and I saw the price and I thought, no thank you. But even saying that, even getting them singular isn't saving you much money either, unfortunately. You might think, what are these films about? Well, the stories are quite simplistic. It usually involves some kind of person like this, involved in some, problems, and they've got some really bad characters chasing them or after them, and you've got some good guys trying to save them. Kind of like that, but there's a lot more to it than that. It's hard to explain, but if you've seen Russ Meyer films, more or less, they're all kind of like the same, but they've got these really weird story developments in it. You think, wow, more about that in a second, because the next one coming up from 1979 is unreal. So for me, Russ Meyer's 1970s output is the more explicit. Next up is 1979's Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. Now this one is probably the most graphic, as well as Up, the one from 1976, which is coming out. They are the most extreme. I'm going to say extreme. They're not extreme, but compared to the other ones they are. It's as if Russ Meyer is up the ante and just thinking, right, what can I put in these films? Now after this film, ironically, he never really made a film again. That's 1979. He just kind of stopped, which I can't believe. Unfortunately, I got this from Amazon. There's a sticker on there, which is over the top of this. Actually, is that a bit of a sticker? Yeah, there's some sticker on here for. Yeah, stickers on here for the barcodes. But this one is quite massive and aggressive and a bit obtrusive, and it is not going to come off, so I'm not going to risk it at all. Don't want to damage the slipcover. I do like the slipcovers, I've got to say. They are eye-catching, for want of a better word. You get your 4K and you get your Blu-ray. All the Blu-ray extras are on the Blu-ray. All the extras on the Blu-ray. And the 4K just has the film on with a couple of commentaries. But this is absolutely crazy, this one. The basic story, if I can go into it, which is kind of hard to explain without getting into problems with YouTube. Okay, if you can imagine that it takes place in a junkyard, all around a junkyard, and Junkyard Sal owns this junkyard. It's about her relationship with her husband. I think he's a husband. And she isn't satisfied with certain things, and she wants a bit more, and he's not really bothered about that. He's bothered about one thing, which is going to happen later on in the film, and yeah, that's all really I can say about that. The title, Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, says everything. Basically, that is the plot of the movie, if you can read between the lines. But this was the first one I got. Actually, I got this, and it was £38. I'm like, wow, these have been really expensive. I'm so glad that the next two aren't coming out anytime soon, because it would break the bank massively. But I've really been after these for a long time, so I'm so pleased to get them. The next ones are Motorcycle and Up. But there's a few other ones that I wouldn't mind them bringing out. There's a 1964 film called Loner. And there is also Good Morning and Goodbye, 1967, and Finders Keepers, Lovers Weepers, which is from 1968. And Cherry, Harry and Raquel from 1969. He did really put loads of films out in the sort of 60s and 70s. And like I say, it's 1979. He just said, right, that's it. I'm done, nearly. Had a few little things out in VHS, but nothing you would write home about. There is one more I'm going to talk about after this. So yeah, so if you like Russ Meyer, these are absolutely essential. The price is absolutely flabbergasting, if I'm honest. I'm stunned that there is this price. I knew they were expensive in the States, and I thought, oh, maybe they'll not be that. They'll be £10 cheaper over here, but they're not. Maybe the only thing I can say in their defence is that maybe the rights for these, and I know the rights have been problematic for years and years, and we're talking 20 years plus, These have been probably a lot of expense for them to put out, and they're trying to get some of their money back. That's the only way I can put that, because I've never known anything come out which is it's not bare bones, but it's not got a massive amount in it, in the way of extras, in the way of like booklets and art cards and posters and all that type of thing. And the only thing I can say about that is maybe they're trying to claw back some of the money, because they must have had to pay a lot of money for this. That might be happening. So to finish off, I'll just talk about this one, The Great Rock and Roll Swindle from 1980. Now, Russ Meyer was involved in this. I'm not too sure how involved, but I do know that I thought he was going to be the original director of this, and he wanted to make the film a bit like one of the films he made before. Now, there is a lot of stuff in this, and there is episodes, I think, I'm going to say more when they went to Brazil, when they met Ronnie Biggs, and all that stuff that was filmed around about that time. I think that was more the Russ Meyer things. And if you look at the stuff which is more explicit, you probably think that was Russ Meyer did that. He's not on, I've looked on Internet Movie Database and I've tried to find out what input he had. It doesn't mention anything about him on there, but I know for a fact he was involved in this. But I think what had happened was, I think he was up in arms about some kind of contract thing. He didn't like Matrix best. I think that's who were the people funding this. And he just says, right, I'm off. So he left them with the stuff, and some of the stuff got put into the film, I believe. But I just thought I'd mention that because it's mad to think he had anything to do with that. I really like this film, but I would love him to have had, maybe there's not going to be anything like that, but if it's a director's cut, like the Russ Meyer one, I think that would be absolutely amazing. This really does need a Blu-ray if they can get it out. I know some of the picture quality is not that great because it's from bad sources, but I would love this to actually come out. So there you go. That's my Russ Meyer collection thus far. I'm so glad there's a lot more coming out, and hopefully, well, I think they'll all be released by Severin, and I think they'll all be quite expensive. I'm not taking anything away from the Severin releases. Like I say, especially Beyond the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, one of the best looking 4Ks I've seen in a long time. It's amazing what quality you can get out of these films from the 70s. In fact, any movie that's shot outside in the 70s should look amazing on 4K if you've got the original camera negatives. But I'm really hoping that I would love to see that they would kind of reduce the prices a little bit, although they're not going to reduce them on Motorcycle or Up. But I really want Faster Pussycat more than anyone else to come out, because that is the best. And I do think if they can find the original camera negatives in that black and white setup, it should look absolutely sensational. So there you go. That's Russ Meyer. He's not for everybody, but if you like his stuff, this is just some of the best news I've ever heard in the way of releasing some cult cinema. So thanks for watching. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.